We trust our phones with, well, pretty much everything, right? But what if that trust isn't exactly a two-way street? Today, we're going to dig into what your phone might be sharing about you, stuff you probably never even knew was happening.
Okay, so let's start with a little throwback. Do you remember back in 2020 when India banned hundreds of Chinese apps? It was this massive move, all about security and trying to protect user data.
So fast forward to today. You'd think those abs are gone for good, wouldn't you? Well, how many do you think managed to find their way back? The number is kind of shocking. It's this many.
Yep, 36 of them. They are right back on the Google Play Store and Apple's App Store. And they didn't just walk back in through the front door, they used some pretty clever tactics to get there.
So that's the big question, isn't it? How on earth did they pull this off?
Well, they have a whole bag of tricks. Some just slapped on a new name and a slightly different logo. Others, like the dating app Tantan, just rebranded. Shein got smart and struck a deal with an Indian company, promising to keep all the user data local. And then you've got the ones that just, changed their mailing address, listing their ownership in places like Singapore or Vietnam to make it harder to trace where they're really from. It's a giant game of whack-a-mole, and right now, the apps are definitely winning. But here's where we need to take a step back, because this whole app situation, it might just be a distraction. We're all so focused on the apps we choose to download, but what if the biggest privacy risk isn't in the App Store at all? What if it came with the phone, right out of the box? Okay, this is where things get really, really interesting. Forget the software you install for a minute. We need to talk about the software that was already on your phone when you bought it. So, some academic researchers decided to look under the hood of some popular Android phones in China. And what they found, they literally described as alarming. It turns out those apps that come pre-installed, the ones you can't even delete, have been given some seriously powerful permissions right from the get-go. Now, to really get what's going on, we need to quickly define a term, PII. It stands for Personally Identifiable Information. And trust me, for data collectors, this stuff is pure gold. It's any little piece of data that can be traced directly back to you. The researchers broke it down into four main types. First up, you've got data that's basically your phone's unique fingerprint. I'm talking about its IMEI number, its serial number, stuff that's hardwired into the device itself. It's a permanent ID for that specific piece of hardware, forever. Next, there's your user profile. And this is where it gets really personal. It includes your phone number, which is a huge deal in a place like China, where it's linked to your citizen ID. It also keeps a list of all your apps. And get this, it tracks how you use them. It's like a secret diary of your entire digital life. Third, your location. And we're not just talking about GPS. No, your phone is way smarter than that. It uses nearby Wi-Fi networks, it uses cell towers, all to figure out exactly where you are, with, frankly, some pretty chilling accuracy. And finally, we have what's maybe the most sensitive category of all, your social network. Think about it. This is who you call, who you text, how long you talk for, and the phone numbers of every single person in your contact list. It basically maps out your entire social life. So here is the core of the whole investigation. The researchers did a direct face-off. They compared the phone's core software, the firmware, from a phone sold in China, and they put it up against the global version, the one sold pretty much everywhere else. And wow, it was like looking at two completely different devices. The Chinese firmware came packed with 3 to 4 times more pre-installed third-party apps. Even worse, it granted those apps all sorts of dangerous permissions automatically, without ever even asking you. It was sending out a much wider range of that sensitive personal data, and not just to the phone maker, but to a whole bunch of other third parties too. But check this out, because this might be the most shocking finding of all. Those pre-installed apps on the Chinese phones, they were granted 8 to 10 times more dangerous permissions by default. We're talking about things that should always require your specific permission, like access to your location, your contacts, or your microphone. Just turn on. So this isn't just some theory in an academic paper, right? This is happening on real phones that people are using every single day. So let's bring this home and look at a specific feature you might even find on your own device. If you have an Oppo, a OnePlus, or a Realme phone, you're going to want to listen up. There's this feature called Enhanced Intelligent Service, and guess what? It's turned on by default, and most people have absolutely no idea it's even there. This service claims it's there to improve your user experience by collecting your personal information.
And the list of what it collects is basically a laundry list of sensitive data. Your location, your calendar events, your SMS messages, your call logs, and your app usage stats. It's a perfect real-world example of the exact kind of data collection those researchers were warning us about.
Okay, so after hearing all that, the big question is, what can you actually do about it? Well, the good news is you're not totally powerless here. For this specific feature, at least, you can take back some control. If you've got one of these phones, you can turn this service off. You just have to dig into your settings, then click on Additional Settings, find System Services, and then you just uncheck the box for Enhanced System Services. Give your phone a quick restart, and boom, you've opted out.
And all this really leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Our devices are constantly getting smarter, promising to make our lives easier and more efficient. But that intelligence is fueled by our data. So it's worth asking yourself, as your phone gets smarter, who is it really getting smarter for? Is it getting smarter for you or for someone else?